I
So
missed
close. So
I
close.
missed. I tried.
Well, hello.
Hey, yo, everybody. It's still cold and freezing here, but I have hot drink and heater.
It is warm and balmy here, and I have cold drink and fan.
We're living two very different lives.
Yeah, different climates.
Understandable,
Although I think our outfits
because
would be worse. Generally, you have a lot more skin showing than I do right now.
I always have more skin showing, I think.
Yeah, probably. But I was
With the
like,
exception of when I'm burrowed in.
yeah.
In fact, usually have so much skin and or just appear to have so much skin that Fox constantly gets onto me that I look like I'm a very different kind of streamer
You
than I
have a
am.
couple tank tops that disappear with skin tone
They
and
just
hair.
vanish.
I feel like this is totally off topic, but I'm giving
We haven't been on topic yet. So
I know, but Scully is like Mulder and Scully. Scully's the woman. That's what I feel like I'm doing right now.
What I was gonna say about us being inverse though is like you've got the bright background, I've got like the darker background, but I'm wearing like the dark vest with the light shirt, and you've got like a light vest with the dark. So.
And then you have the dark hair, and I have the light hair. We're both pale, but
I'm only pale from the chin up.
Yeah. So would you like to explain what this is?
No, it's your turn. Oh wait, no, I do because it's the book summary.
Yeah.
Hey, we have a DM. I want to see if it's Fox. No, it's my husband. Hi, and welcome to our first book talk of the year. We have been struggle busting to get this book talk out to you guys, but don't worry, we may delay, but you know, we get it done. So this is episode 22 of our book talk book club stream podcast thing, where once a month, usually twice a month, we each
Polo?
Awesome, third bell. My daughter's washing a box of knickknacks that my mother gave to me from my great-grandmother. She has located a third bell in the knickknacks. Sorry about that. But yes, so generally twice a month, we each pick a book that one of us likes and the other one is usually new to reading, and then we talk about it. That way there's always at least one person in the books corner. And this time, with episode 22, it is Dragons of Autumn Twilight by Margaret Weis. I said dragons.
Dragonlance. Dragons of Autumn. You have to say the Dragonlance first.
If you had just trusted me, I was going to say Dragons of Autumn Twilight by Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman, book 1 of a Dragonlance trilogy. Let's see. I decide series goes all the way at the end.
Fine.
But yes, it's Stevie's pick, as you could tell. She's very passionate about it. This is going to be an interesting discussion, if for no other reason than this will be the first time I say it on a book talk, but my family and I believe I have entered periomenopause, which has taken my PMDD and my migraines up to 11, and I read this book and reread scenes, and I was doing nothing but paying attention to the book, and there are still times I am not certain that I fully processed. So
that's fine. I listened to this book as I was moving and like installing stuff in the new house and cleaning and doing a puzzle for Lord of the Rings. But one of the things is not but it was on theme. Alright. So, Dragonlance is a classic kind of D&D-esque adventure. We have a party of heroes, and I'm gonna do like a little description of each of our heroes, and then just like go into it. So we have Tanis Half Elven, who is, you guessed it, a half elf. Um, he's like the ranger, and then I'm really quick here because there's so many of them. Flint Fireforge, who's like a gruff old dwarf archetype, was a metalsmith. Uh, Tasselhoff Burfoot, my favorite character as a child, um, who is a Kender, which is a like variant of half
Kinder.
elves. What?
Kinder.
No, it's Kender.
I've always heard it pronounced Kinder.
K.
Even in the audiobook I listened to, they called it a Kinder.
My audiobook said Kender. I'm gonna keep saying Kender until. Yeah, no, I'm actually just gonna keep. This is gonna be a Kurok situation.
Fine.
So Tasselhoff Burfoot, which is a Kender, which is a race of almost childlike halflings who don't feel fear. We have Raceland, who is a wizard, and he's spooky. He's undergone some sort of transformation after something in the Tower of High Sorcery. And his brutish brother, but kind, the oaf, Caramon, or variations thereupon that name, who's a big sweetie pie, kind of likes to eat.
He's a teddy bear.
Then we have Sturm, right? That cannot be his last name. I think it is. These are just such D&D names, and I love that for them. We have Sturm, a knight of Slamnia,
I do believe these books were commissioned, like the Dragonlance series was commissioned by Dungeons and Dragons. So
I think they were written based on Dungeons and Dragons, and then Tracy Weis and Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman were then hired to write adventures for D&D. Then we have so Sturm is very like knightly and chasing like the honor of the Slamnik Knights, which has like kind of fallen upon the wayside in recent years since the Cataclysm, which was a really in like like apocalyptic event basically, and the gods abandoned the world supposedly, or the world abandoned the gods. Salamnik Knights, or Slamnik. No, it's Slamnik. Anyways, and,
I thought they were like, it was like a play on the term solar, because their
No,
symbol was the sun, wasn't it?
they have fantastic mustaches. That's like a thing. And then we have Goldmoon and Riverwind, which are a couple from barbarians from the plains. Goldmoon is Chieftain's daughter, and later Chief, but they just call her Chieftain's daughter repeatedly. And she is a
Quite disrespectful, given that I hated every time they referred to her as Chieftain's daughter, because I'm like, the chief is dead and she is now the chieftain.
Yeah, I'm like,
no longer the chieftain's daughter.
And then fucking die. Like, we know he's dead. And I'm like, she's the chief. You specifically say she's the chief, and then we continue to call her Chieftain's daughter. Anyways, she's cool. She has this. They have the blue crystal staff, which is this a magical staff of healing, basically, and she's the carry of it, and I'll get onto it later. And Riverwind, who is from her tribe, but his family was outcast, and they're in love, but he's like a lower social class, so he went on a quest to like get, fame, recognition, so that he can be worthy enough to marry her, and discovers the blue crystal staff, and people are like, ah, and they try to stone him to death, and then the blue crystal staff transported Goldmoon and Riverwind to Solace. Our story picks up at the very beginning of the book, where the party minus Goldmoon and Riverwind are meeting up for the first time in 5 years after they went to different parts of Kryn, which is the continent or the world, to look for evidence of the old gods still being around. So like checking with the clerics of each of their people because they belong to different races, and like hunting down rumors and tales of the old gods. They're meeting in an inn, and during this, there's an instant. Then Gold Moon and Riverwind show up with Sturm because he met them right outside of Solus, which is a town basically up in the trees. Like there's these giant trees, and they've built like their houses up in there, which is super cool. There's an incident in the inn where one of the local like one of the seekers, which is like the new gods priests, gets injured, and they use the blue crystal staff to heal him. But the goblins and kobolds have been in the area a lot recently in alliance with the seekers, and they like we get the Tanis, Tass, and Flint get stopped by them before we go into town, and then so when the crystal staff shows up, it does something. People are like, that's it. They call for the guards, so we need to do a dramatic escape. There's so many fights in this book, so I'm going to just breeze past a lot of the little skirmishes. We get a couple skirmishes. They get out of town. They escape on a boat.
That was part of what fucked me up a little bit, is because I would be in a fight, and then there would be another fight, and I was like, wait a second. I'm like, how did we get here?
Yeah, so downtime since then, but it was like 2 paragraphs.
I would have to mentally map, like on a timeline, how all the fights happened.
Yeah.
So.
We finally, it's another fight, but this time we discover that it are kobolds, draconic creatures that turn into stone when killed. And they are the ones that are searching for the blue crystal staff. But the problem is your weapons can get caught in them. And then they turn, Sam, I just like checked the text and was like, Sam. And then they turn stone, and then they turn dust. But so now we know that the kobolds are hunting them. They have to flee into the woods. They get led by a stag, which only Sturm can see, which is a reference to the ancient warrior Huma, who had killed the dragons before with the fabled Dragonlance after seeing a stag in the woods. So they follow the stag. It leads them into like a darkened wood, evil forest kind of thing, which no one's supposed to go into. So they go in. And they're met with the undead. Raceland does some cool magic so the dead doesn't kill them. The dead recognizes the blue crystal staff. They're led to the master of the wood, which is a unicorn, who gives them some food and supplies, and then tells them to go to Zaxaroth, which is the same temple that the blue crystal staff was found in, and that so that Riverwind went on a quest to. I wrote some notes down, so that's what I'm going off of. This is where I ran out of notes, so we're gonna just like freeball it after that. They have to go through a swamp. There's like a little fight because of fucking course there is. Wait, no, is that after? No, that's beforehand. The swamp fight is before they get into Zaxaroth, right? Yeah, because we're walking on the way to Zaxaroth. There's the fight. Tassoff pretends to be a dragon. Then, which is hilarious, they have a fake dragon there to get a bunch of kobolds to do the bidding of some of the druids. Keep in mind, there are actual dragons in this book, but this dragon is a fake dragon. And then we get to Zaxaroth, and this is the first appearance where we see an actual dragon in the book. It's definitely like implied, like dragons are a thing of legends, but they're not here anymore. There's two,
like extinct.
Yeah, there's 2 constellations missing from the sky: the Queen of Darkness, and then like a good god, Mishtal, I think. So we get into Zaxxaroth, and then a dragon jumps up from a well, or like explodes from the ground, and everyone gets hit with dragon fear, which is a like magical effect that basically means you can't do really anything. You're overcome with fear, and then Riverwind, our guy, is burnt alive by dragon fire, and we're like, oh, he's dead. But wait, while all of them were getting terrified by a dragon, Goldmoon went into a temple, had a whole moment with Mistral, the good god or goddess, I think goddess, and is now a cleric. So
I think it's two goddesses against each other.
Sees her betrothed with melted eyeballs, and they're like, we're gonna put him out of her misery. And she's like, no. Magic hands, and now he's fine. I'm curious, did he come back naked? Because all of his clothes would have gotten burned, or like in
he should have, but I don't think he did.
No. And then we go into the basically tunnels underneath Zaxxaroth, and there we have to sneak down below because now we're on a mission from the unicorn, basically, to get these discs that supposedly contain some ancient knowledge which is going to help us in this war that is brewing. We go down there, but it's overrun by kobolds, so we team up with gully dwarves, which are some way between gnomes and dwarves, and they're very, very dumb. But Raceland charms them literally and figuratively, and they help them get down into the bowels of Zaxxaroth, where there is another dragon. They try and sneak in, they fail, or like sneak through that point, they fail. Goldmoon sacrifices herself and the blue crystal staff, which is like, still around at this point, to the dragon, in order to kill the dragon, seemingly also killing herself, but gives the rest of the party time to grab the discs and run away. Riverwind reveals his class as actual barbarian and not just being referred to as a barbarian.
No, it was the first time rage was used. I was so pleased.
I know. I loved like recognizing all the actual D&D mechanics in this. Anyway, okay, let's keep going.
I kept going, why are they being called barbarians? No one's barbarianing.
I think it's just so like rude. They're less civilized than us, so they're barbarians.
Like, you can't tell me they're barbarian when ain't nobody hulking around here.
So we run away. Riverwind is very suicidal. Tanis touches their foreheads together. It's kind of gay. No, I'm joking. Sorry, I have this like little thing. I was sitting there as I was reading. I was like, I would really like Tanis to join Riverwind and Goldmoon. I think he balances the two of them out, and they would be good for him. She is too good for both of these men, but maybe together they are worthy of her. And reveal Goldmoon's still alive because of cleric powers and her goddess. So now they have the discs, and we're going to go continue doing things. It kind of, book one ends there. We pick up back in Solus, where dragons have attacked. A war has happened on Kryn, or is in the process of happening. Kobold and Draconic armies are moving down from the north, because everything bad always comes from the north in fantasy stories, which I think is hilarious. And then so we pick up with Tika Whalen, who is a barmaid at the original inn that we met at the beginning of the book, and she was there as well. She was 19 years old. And sorry, they're just like, yeah, she's 19 anyways, romance. And I'm like, it's fine.
Okay, you like stopped my brain for a second because you said in fantasy everything bad always comes from the north, and I'm like, distinctly the books I grew up with, no, everything bad comes from the south, because as a southerner I was always like, really so that's fascinating to me.
And so so kobolds have kind of moved into and human mercenaries and all sorts of dastardly sorts have moved into Solus. Storm, were you trying to get out of the closet? And it's kind of like tense. We're setting the tone of like the normal people are living. Hello. And then arrive at the inn is our party being super fucking subtle. Not. There's a confrontation because there's an elf there, and the bad guys are like arresting and enslaving all the elves, along with most people. But they're killing most of the elves. Our party and Tika try and stop it because they're good people, and they end up all getting packed up and put into a slave caravan. It turns out this elf is Tanis's cousin, but not blood related. His
Adopted.
mom's
Foster cousin, maybe?
his mom's husband's brother. So his mom's brother-in-law, but they're not blood. And then the children of his non-biological uncle. So they're not biologically related, because it's important to know, because Lorana is a love interest for Tanis, who is this guy's Gid something's brother or sister, who they kind of fell in love a little bit when they were kids, puppy love, and then Tanis was like, no one's happy with this because I'm a half-breed, and so I'm going to go off and explore the other half of my heritage. But that happened years ago. But there's tension in the slave caravan, and then they're rescued by elves, and they're brought in with the rest of the elves. They're like, hey, Goldmoon's a cleric. The old gods are back. There's some like conflict over whether they're actually back. It showed that they are. And that's the end of my notes. So we go off to, I don't even remember the name of the location. Our goal now is the party sets out on another adventure to...
We're going to like an underground city place.
Yeah, so we're going to free the human captives from like a stronghold of the evil cleric who's the head of the evil army. Sorry. Hi, Storm. And so that I have the hiccups now. So that the humans escape our distraction, so that all the forces have to stay there to try and, re-kill the humans and recapture them, so the elves can go and escape. And maybe some of the humans will live too. So we go there. We have to sneak in. Along the way, we meet a human mercenary with like a normal fucking name that I'm totally blanking on. I'm gonna call him Kevin. His name's not Kevin, but that's what we're going with. It's like Eric or something, but we're going with Kevin. So they meet Kevin, who is a human from a disgraced noble house or like merchant house or whatever. And he was part of Gillanthus's, which is I'm gonna call the elf dude, the not cousin, Gil. Was part of the party that got killed. Sorry, my cat just fell off the desk because she wants cuddles right now. That got killed by the bad guys, and Gil thought he was the only one that escaped, but Kevin also escaped. And so now it's Gil and Kevin. They suspect to be a traitor, but also maybe Raceland because he looks sus as hell because he exists. Sorry. Oh yeah.
Raceland be like Breeze, and they be like,
I don't trust you.
Raceland's like, I gotta take a pee, and Raceland's like, I gotta go take a pee, and they're all like, a pee where? In the enemy encampment? Where are you gonna stab us in the back? And he's like, behind the bush. Like,
you can come with me, and they're like, no.
They're like, no, we trust you. And he's like, but do you?
Yeah, he's like, but also fuck off. If you don't.
And then they're all like, prove that we can trust you. And he's like, nah, man, you made up your mind. It ain't nothing I can do. Which honestly,
I have had numerous opportunities to betray you, and I haven't, and yet you still don't trust me. So fuck you, I guess. And so we're like, oh, one of those three is the spy. I wonder who it could be.
Obviously,
they're being followed this whole time. Turns out it was Lorana who was like, no, Tanis, I love you. Don't abandon me. I can show that there's something worth dying for. And then she's like, oh shit, the world is scary. maybe I don't care as much about Tanit. Like, I need to kind of get my head on straight. Um,
I enjoyed that for her.
Me too. Uh, and so we have to go through all of these tunnels, and there's monsters and stuff. Tanis gets a sword of an old elven king that, like, the skeleton hands it to him in the heat of a battle, which is cool, undoubtedly.
As well.
And oh, I forgot the icon, Fizban. Fizban is a doddering old wizard whose favorite spell is Fireball, but he has some memory issues, and he almost gets some
So
fun
he claims.
in equal measure. Tasselhoff is kind of like intrigued by him because he's really interesting. But Tass and Fizban get separated from the rest while they're in the tunnels. Sam is froze, and I hope it's her that's froze and not me because I'm explaining so much right now. So I'm gonna keep going until.
If that helps.
Did you freeze or I freeze? I cannot hear you.
I might have frozen.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going then. We get into let's see. The party minus Tass and Fizban go and they meet up with all of the women are held separate from the children and the men. The men work in the mines as slaves. The children are babysat by this really old dragon who's kind of lost her mind because her dragon children were killed way back by Huma. And it kind of broke her a bit, which, yeah. And they find the women, they dress up as women, and then they let the men know what's going on, and they go and let the kids out. Meanwhile, Fizban and Tass are sneaking around. They overhear that there's a traitor, like confirmed this time, and then that they're looking for someone special with a green crystal in the middle of their chest. And then they see a Gullydorf, which is a different Gullydorf that helped them earlier, but this one also tried to help them while they were in the slave caravan, who is like captured and was going to be fed to the dragon, but the dragon's like, ew, I don't want to eat that. And so they save the Gullydorf, but Fizban's hat reveals that they're there, and they after them, which triggers an ancient mechanism, which will have consequences later. Meanwhile, the rest of the party has gotten all of the humans to safety somewhat. They're getting the women and the children over to the men, but then all of a sudden the men come running out. They realize that Kevin, whose name I still don't remember, the human mercenary, is missing.
I tried to pull up my book, but it doesn't have sectioned chapters, so I was like, I give
up. Okay, and then it's revealed that Kevin is the bad guy, and he comes across the guy with the blue crystal, or they figured it out, so he's going to try and get the man out of there whose name is like Bear or something. God, me verse names. But in doing so, he tells all the men to run out into the big field. Right as the dragon comes out, the big gates slam shut because of Tass and Fizban's antics. Fizban dies, falls to his death. But one last spell of Feather, not Featherfall, saves Tass's life and then also the Gullydorf's life. So everyone's in basically a big clearing, and now there's a dragon.
I will say I was upset with my Merlin insert dying. I was like, fucking these other two bitches die, I'm brought back to life. But no, not my Merlin insert. How fuck rude.
And then he's like, the evil dragon's like, I'm gonna kill the women and the children, and I guess the men too. And the older lady dragon, whose mind is gone a little, is like, did someone say they're killing children? Not on my fucking watch.
She's like, not my fucking children.
And basically beats the shit out of this dragon. Like she
The
gets
younger dragon, he's all like, Grandma, why are you whooping my ass so hard? And she's like,
yeah, he's like bigger,
kill.
stronger, but she's just better. And because of the in combat flight, the evil cleric falls off, and then he starts using like evil magic on our party, basically debuffs. And then Goldmoon shows up and is like, yo, I got my own god. And the evil goddess is like, fuck, and stops giving him support, which very much turns the fight against him, and our good guys kill him. Before this, Kevin and the green gem guy are running towards the gate, but the gate closes on them and squishes them, killing them both. And we're like, well, guess we're not dealing with that.
That doesn't matter anymore.
Stops the army that was going to go kill the elves. When they get withdrawn, they can't actually come in and kill the humans now. So both of the dragons seem to die. And then the evil cleric's also dead. And the humans kind of escape into the mountains and are able to like set up camp there. And then it's a little kind of a wrap up. We get a nice wedding between Goldmoon and Riverwind. I totally glossed over the fact that we found their home burned to the ground and like people and kobolds strung up.
That happened when Goldmoon died.
That happened way before.
That was when Riverwind died.
No, this is way before that.
Was it?
Yeah. This is,
I thought they found their home burned and then like a dragon was still there.
No, they got to Zaxxaroth between the home burning and that.
Got it.
Yeah. I think even the fake dragon was after that. But there was a thing that was like, this would happen to people who let, slaves or prisoners escape or something like that, or who take prisoners. But yeah, so everyone was dead. It was very sad. It was kind of the first boom, hey, this war, this quest you're on, there's consequences for the wider world happening as well. But yeah, so now they're the two left of their tribe that they know is alive, and so they get married. It's very nice ceremony, all that fun stuff. And then they look over and the gold gem guy is just like sitting at one of the tables eating, and then he's like disappeared, and they're like, the fuck? And then the book ends.
Well, I guess we do have to deal with that.
Yeah, I think that is, for such a fucking long book, I think I did a great job squeezing it all in. Insert like a dozen more fight scenes in, and that was the book.
So many.
What did you think of Dragon's Autumn Twilight?
Well, first, for the publication history, the reason I was a little confused is because Dragonlance is published by Tor Publishing, which is owned by Wizards of the Coast. But what had happened was you were right in that Margaret and Tracy basically took some D&D modules, wrote a story based on those modules, Tor published them, and then Wizards liked that so much they were like, oh, well, we'll just like not sue you and hire you to do our stuff.
Wow.
Which is not what they would do now.
No, it's not. And
it's just really
because there's.
Yeah, I wanted to bring it up because I think that that's really cool that it like full circled that way, because with how a lot of corporations are now, the copyright would be mighty.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you think of this book?
I enjoyed it. It wasn't quite as old. It wasn't Grandpa.
No.
Grandpa fantasy, something else. It wasn't quite great uncle fantasy, but it was. So So the writing style wasn't that bad. Who do you think was my ride or die, and who do you think I would have preferred to walk off a cliff because I was so done with their shit?
I think I have I kind of suspect you kind of want Sturm to walk off a cliff. And I mean, maybe Gold Moon is your ride or die. Either that or Raceland, like race.
It's Raceland. It's 100%
So
Raceland.
because I texted you
As
that,
far
and
as yes, as far as who can walk up, fucking Tannis, just walk off a cliff, be done. I don't want to read you on the page anymore. First of all, why are you shading this man with your every breath from the first
main
time?
fucking character, like
like-
actually, I hate him.
He like appears on page, and Tannis is like, that motherfucker. I'm like, what the fuck you do? Nothing.
I feel like
Tannis
Sturm
just doesn't
didn't
approve of
him
his
out.
magic. That is it.
Yeah, no.
And then like
here's the-
Tannis also. Like, no, I love Sturm.
Okay, yeah,
Actually,
me too.
like, I
but
greatly
also-
enjoyed everyone else in the party except Tannis. And then Tannis is like, I am a half elf who grew a beard because like I'm ashamed of my elfness, and I'm like,
No, because I had to hide my elfness because I was in elf not friendly lands. And then later Gil's like, it's because you're afraid of being an elf or like ashamed of it. He's like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, it literally is.
so I'm just like, and every time him and the dwarf, I do enjoy like every time the dwarf, they were like, yeah, we're the old guard, all these younglings, and
It
I'm like,
also
okay, that is
kind of was like Tannis and Flint being like, yeah, these are our kids. We raised them. Like we met like.
Yeah, but then he's into one of them.
Okay, so Kitiara is I know she's older, and I know she didn't grow up in Solace. Like there was a couple lines where it's like,
she's the sister of two of the men in the party.
yeah, she's the half sister, but she's the older half sister, and she didn't grow up with them. So I think she was. It's still not okay.
This man is still sus with his romantic interest.
Oh my god, yes. The fact that, like, Lorana is going to develop slower because she's an elf. Like, literally, that's how elves work. And then Kitiara was a teenager, maybe late teens at the latest when they met. And he's like, I love her. And I'm like, no. No. I remember. Okay, so for context for people watching, I read Dragonlance when I was 8 or 9, which is really young to read a book where a man's eyeballs melt.
I actually didn't think it too graphic. I'd let a 9-year-old read it.
Okay. And it emotionally destroyed me as a child. Like
that
the
is
whole
a risk. It's kind of funny. Chris and I were talking about because we were in a bookstore on a date, and we were talking about middle grade, right? And like we were pointing out some middle grades, and it was A Wrinkle in Time, because he recently started reading A Wrinkle in Time because of Stranger Things, and my daughter read A Wrinkle in Time last summer for a reading challenge because it is a middle grade. And he was like, he's slowly reading that book because it's so dense. And I was like, yeah, I remember our daughter complaining about how dense it was. So it took her forever to get through pages, whereas like with other books, she could breeze through them.
Yeah.
But like, he's like, yeah, they like throw a lot at you and stuff. And he said, it's really heavy for a middle grade. And I'm like, I mean, I'd actually say it's 50-50 when that comes to middle grades. And I think that a lot of people have this weird misperception when it comes to middle grade. Like, this is very distinctly an adult novel, but
Yes.
It's just because you read it when you were middle grade age. And it's like a lot of people have this weird perception of middle grade that like it has to be like sunshine and rainbows and candy corn, or like very surface level tragedy happens. And I'm like, no, there are a shit ton of middle grades that are deep. They are deep. They are like, dense. They handle heavy topics, and they do it really well and age appropriately. And that's why, like, when I think of this book and then I think of like heavier middle grades that a middle grader would read, I'm like, no, they'd be fine.
I think the threat of sexual assault is in this book is not 8-year-old.
No, probably not that. If again,
Um,
it's going off of my memory with
yeah, and then or even just like comparing like the subject of genocide. Genocide happens in this book, and like murder of innocents and
no, there's a lot of middle grade about genocide.
yeah, and then you look at like Avatar: The Last Airbender, which has that as well. Obviously, is a different medium, but it handles that same subject, but in a way that's processed for kids.
I will add a like star of which I would reread it but like I don't want it to be a blanket term that any 9-year-old could read this book so much as like I would not bat an eye at a 9-year-old reading this if their parents felt they could handle it.
Yeah, I texted my dad about it, and I was like, I cannot believe you. That encouraged me to read it, and he's like, yeah, that might have been a parenting L. Although less than
Look, I don't want to call your parents out, but there have been many a thing that your parents specifically let you watch at an age that you as an individual were probably too young for. And I'm gonna lean on, was your brother okay with watching things? Because that might have skewed their judgment.
Yeah, I think Joey was.
Because I know that I was okay with watching things younger than some of like my peers, and definitely, like, as you know, I'm a horror buff. My little sister, however, got nightmares, so my mom very quickly switched up. It was no longer, well, whatever Samantha can watch, the other two could watch. She realized she couldn't do that, and it had to be individualized.
Yeah.
So I'm just to slightly give them the benefit of
and then, I mean, less than 3 years later, I was writing the prologue of my first book, which is a graphic torture scene. And off of that, as I was reading this, I was just sitting there being like, oh my god.
This is why!
My first book is Dragonlance fanfiction. Like, it's not, but it is. And I think that, like, especially the first, like, beginning of it when I was writing when I was, like, 11 and 12, I'm like, I cannot.
Sorry, Fox said there's a lot of genocide in middle grade is a wild thing to say out of context, but also, yes. It's because that's around the time they start learning about World War II.
Yeah.
So a lot of the middle grade fiction reflects that.
Yeah. And so reading this, and especially the beginning of the book, I was like, oh my god. Because once I read the first, like, the core series, which is Autumn Twilight, Winter Night, and Spring Dawning, I think I read not all of them, but a big ass chunk of the Dragonlance side stories where it's like Tasselhoff's Adventures, Raceland and Caramon. I don't think I read the Sturm ones. I think I read some of the Tanis ones, but Tanis, Flint, and Tass have a lot of adventures together, and I loved those. But I was obsessed with Tasselhoff as a child. Like,
so do you not like Sturm?
No, I like Sturm. I like him. But his just books weren't as, like, as a kid, it's not as much what I was going for. I didn't read the Raceland and stuff once much. Anything with Tass in it, though, I was reading. Like, I was obsessed with Tasselhoff Burford.
Tasselhoff was great. I loved him.
Oh my god, he's fantastic. Is kind of like, hey, how do we get away with writing a child in the party without subjecting a child to the horrors?
I don't know. I would go with that just because, like, so Kinder or Kender, however you want to say it, is, I don't know. That's a race of creatures, however you want to phrase it, for D&D. And like, growing up, I saw people play them, so I was like, I don't know if I would say that that's what it is so much as they're just kind of a fun thing. And
Yeah.
like he was still subjected to the horrors. He was just a little older so he could handle it a little better. And we still got that like childlike innocence being devastated by the horrors through our elf girl. So
Yeah. No. I was saying like, okay, so Kender started in Dragonlance. I just looked that up. Like Kender weren't a D&D race pre Dragonlance.
okay.
Which I was saying like I feel somewhat like the Kender are created to have that like childlike character experiencing it all without actually subjecting a literal child to the plot of the book.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I could see where you're coming from, if nothing else.
I don't presume to know what's going on in Weis and Hickman's brain.
I will say, before this book, I hated Kenders with every fiber of my being. So
because of people playing Kender.
specifically, my baby sister.
Ah.
Oh my god. Okay. So it wasn't the in-game stuff. It was the fact that, like, out of game, my poor sister. I'm about to. It's okay. She's almost 30 now. This is when she was a preteen.
Okay.
Because so my uncle was the dungeon master for most of my cousins and my sister's games and stuff, and as one do, like out of game and stuff, they like had this ongoing thing that like my sister was just a kinder, and so she'd be like, I'm not stealing it, I'm borrowing it. And I'm like, no bitch, you're stealing my shit. And so like as her older sister, I fucking hated that shit. And it's like, are you giving it back? No, you're not. You're stealing. So, yes, I hated them with every fiber. But then I read this book and I was like, okay, they're not terrible, I guess. Maybe, because I'm not dealing with it in real life.
I feel like it's cute and fun for a single character, kind of odd for a whole race. And I think
It's
I would
basically just kleptomaniacs.
and I think I would kind of die having people play one in a D&D campaign. Not even a D&D campaign, but having like too much of it.
could see my thing was I think like versus playing them, I just think that I always thought people I don't want to say played them wrong, but I feel if somebody plays a Kender, they should lean into the kleptomaniac thing, not the lying thing.
Yeah.
Because like they were written in this book, that's what they're supposed to be. They're like they take without even realizing they take, right? And
Yeah.
so like Tanis is forever putting shit back, which I'm all for. Like he puts stuff back, and Tassel it seems doesn't realize when anything goes missing.
Yeah.
So it's like they're not stealing just to steal and hiding behind the excuse to borrowing. They're stealing because they cannot control it, and they're trying to rationalize, oh well, I didn't steal because that's bad, so I'm just borrowing and stuff, versus how my sister played hers.
And then I also think with Tass, like when we get his perspective when he is stealing things, he's like his like literally we're in his head and he's like, no, I'm picking it up to give it back later. Like I'm holding on to it for them. And the fact he has all these pouches and everything, I'm just like, yeah, because he's holding on to stuff to either return them later or just like, oh, something fun that he's picked up, like a pretty rock, but that pretty rock was someone's wedding ring.
Yeah.
And so, but I definitely wrote in my novel when I was a kid, my halfling, who is a child, is a Kender. Like he is a Kender in every ounce of it. Tass, I don't know if my obsession or like my fascination with thief characters came from Tass, but it definitely like the fact that Tass is a rogue. I mean, my first D&D character was a rogue, and that's when I was like 6, younger than when I read Dragonlance. Maybe even younger than that.
Hold on. Also, hello, White Seer Gaming.
Yes. Hello. Racelyn.
Racelyn. I don't know if it's Majir. My brain wants to say Mahir, but that's probably incorrect. He's a great person to have.
He's a great character. But yeah, so I don't know if Tass was my beginning of fascination with thieves and rogues, but just seeing it, I'm just like, yeah. I do want to talk about, get your opinions on the way race is used, not species, but actual like skin coloring in this book. Because I've seen a lot of like official art, like the Dragonlance official art is kind of like famous with like classic D&D art, and like the Dragonlance characters are all over old modules and like I think even players handbooks and stuff. And in almost all of them, Goldmoon is a white woman, a white blonde hair, blue eyed woman. And the fact that she shows up on page and it's like her dark skin, and I'm like, why is she a white lady in everything then? Because I thought
such a long-standing issue with artwork and
because
adaptation.
like they give him melanin, and because for years I hadn't gone back and read Dragonlance since I probably hadn't read a Dragonlance since I was like 15. So I kind of had this like perception of it of like, yeah, it was written in like the 70s to 80s, and it doesn't it's going to be kind of racist to the barbarians, the tribes people, and the good one, the special one, she's the white lady. And so that not being what's going on in the actual text, I was like, hey,
hold on, let's have an addendum. Most of that is what's going on in the text. Like, it's still like they're the barbarians, they're the savages, they're less civilized, they're the darker skinned individuals and stuff. It's just like the special one is not a white lady. She's
and I mean there is also the calling out of people being like within the text Goldmoon Riverwind being like, hey, we have society, like we have a class system, like we're not uncivilized barbarians, except the text repeatedly refers to them as barbarians. So it's kind of like more leaning in the right direction than I thought it was going to be. Like, would this be a-okay for nowadays? No.
I would say it's on par for the 70s, though, because the 70s had a lot of media that was trying to break away from the mold and be more I don't want to say call out, but like to be more aware and stuff.
Yeah.
And
so I was pleasantly surprised by that. Also, that I remembered, I think I had started reading Autumn Twilight a couple times since I read it as a kid. And I remember having this impression that Goldmoon was kind of just like a wilting flower, because I think she's heavily traumatized and very quiet in the first chapter or so. And I think that kind of like stuck in my head because I would go to read it again and then not. And so seeing that there's more to her than that. Yeah, she's a badass. She's a fully fleshed out character, but she's also not just like a perfect paragon of women and femininity, or she's not like girl power, like she is afraid of heights. Like she's arrogant. She's like, there are flaws to her in that she's a well-developed character I was not expecting. As someone who loves this book from my childhood, I was very happy that it wasn't just like, to it as I was reading. Let's see. Do you want to talk about Raceland?
What about my guy?
No, it's like, what are your thoughts on your guy? Like, what makes you like him so much?
He's well, we could go with the very simple. He's the edgy guy, but no, that's not actually a guarantee with me. No, I like that Raceland, like, it is both implied and said that everything he's done, he has done for his friends and to protect them and take care of their well-being and stuff. No! Raceland didn't die. They brought in a Merlin stand-in and murdered that one instead, so my Raceland was spared.
Fizzbang.
Fuck. But I was still upset.
Man's constantly on the verge of death, though. He has a chronic illness.
He's constantly on the verge of death. He's just like one bad cough away from dying.
Literally, he's
At
got
any
a
moment.
catch a cold, and that is the death of like the youngest super powerful wizard in Kryn.
But yeah, so everything he's done has been to like give up that, and he's got a brother who they are so fucking ride or die for each other, and he's just so like, just explain to me, and he's like, I can't explain to you because of you know why, and then he's like, I know why, and I'm like, well, I don't know why. Clue a reader in with your inner monologue, please.
Literally.
But no, they do not. And I really like that, and I love his attitude whenever he's suspected, because like
Yeah.
there, which happens a lot, and he's like, I get why. He's like, I did in fact do some really shitty, shady stuff in order to get my power, and I would probably do more shitty, shady stuff to get even more power. I am in fact power hungry. However, I love you bitches more than power, so I would give it all up for all of you. And they're like, but would you betray us? And he's like, would I betray you, motherfucker? Let's just see. Let's wait and see if I betray you. We'll just wait.
Yeah, because he's like, you clearly think I'm going to betray you at every fucking moment.
And there was a moment where he's all like, all right, this is it. This is when I sacrifice my life for these dumb motherfuckers. This is, I'm going to do it. And then Golden Moon, she's like, no, not right now. And then he's like, okay. I don't know what you got going on, but all right, I'll listen.
Or even like going back for the wizard book, like the book that he wanted when they were getting the discs, and him being like, no, I'm gonna go back in. He's not sending other people in.
No,
he's like, no, I might die. The fact that he saves
he's genuinely so nice to the Gully Dwarfs, even though like he like initially charmed them, but after that I don't really think he used the magic on them at all. And then he's just like, no, he's just like, go. And he figures out a way to work within the charm spell to make the Gully Dwarf happy. Because he's like, it would make me happy if you go be with your people. And she's like, what? And he's like, yes, that. And I'm like, this is the MVP right here. I love this motherfucker.
I have a memory of reading it as a kid and not quite having the processing power to differentiate. I remember reading it and being like, okay, Raceland is like, I was scared of him as a kid reading about him. And I knew I was like, or I thought I wasn't supposed to like him, but I did. And I was confused about it. Like, I wasn't quite sure, because we get Tanis's perspective so much. And so I was like, oh, Tanis is the main character. Like, I should agree with him. But I'm like, I don't. Like, I like Raceland's nice to the Gully Dwarf. Like, he was doing all these things, and me as a little kid, I think it was one of the first times where it was, like, not an unreliable narrator, but it kind of is. Like,
it's a biased narrator.
Yeah, it's a biased narrator. And then we get other narrations. But the fact that I loved Tass so much, because Tass kind of had the same comprehension of what was going on as I did as a child. Like, we'd read all these scenes and I'm like not sure what's going on completely because I'm a child. And then I'd get to Tass, and Tass is also kind of confused by some of the interpersonal workings of the party. And so I'd be like, oh, okay, like it's me and Tass against the world.
Tass is my stand-in.
Yeah, when reading it now and Raceland is being angsty and everything as an adult, I'm like, I fucking love him. Like, me as a kid being like, I know I shouldn't like him, and I like was actively scared of him as a child. Like, he scared me, like him on covers and art and stuff, because they're like, he has gold skin. It's like, no, this isn't a euphemism for like being a person of color. He has golden skin, like it literally looks like metal, red hourglass eyes, and I'm like, that is scary. And so it was just fun to see as an adult and be like, oh shit, yeah, like picking up on things I didn't pick up on before, and just like all sorts of things. It was very nostalgic reading this book or listening to it. And then just kind of like remembering little things that I remembered over the years. I texted Sam at one point being like, oh, that's why I didn't remember Riverwind much, when his eyeballs were melting. And then turns out he is still alive. And I was like, fuck, why don't I remember him that much? Like he's almost a bigger character
about us, but I forgot his eyeballs melted at all, so I was like, oh yeah, that did happen.
But like he's a bigger character than Flint, but I remember Flint much more than I remember Riverwind. And yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm like, it was very
Riverwind is mildly unlikable from a female perspective, just because he's so fucking overbearing with Golden Moon, and I'm like, geez, I get it, you like me, but stop the fuck off.
Yeah, the fact that she is the powerhouse between them, and like there's multiple times he's like, no, I will protect you, and she's like puts her hand on her hand on him, and then gives him a look, and he's like, yes, chieftain's daughter, she's a fucking chief.
Right? I like the so disrespectful motherfucker.
Yeah,
but then he raged, and I was like, I can forgive a few things.
He thought she was dead, and he lost his shit. And I was like, damn.
I'm a barbarian gal, so
yeah. And then,
it's really funny because I love barbarians and clerics, and they are the barbarian and cleric of the party, but they are my least favorite characters. Almost.
Other than Tanis.
Almost.
Well, I liked the fact that one of the big points for Riverwind, like me liking him, and it happened fucking off page, is when he's like, no, I'm going to die with her because she's dead, and takes all the bad guys out. And then everyone's making it to the lift. And he's like, okay, I'm going to die here. And Tanis is like, come on. And then we get Tanis got hit by some debris and got knocked out. So Riverwind's like, damn, guess I have to survive to go save him.
He's like, this dumbass got himself knocked out. Now I gotta live. And I was like, oh, Tanis, you did it good.
And I remember liking Tanis, and now I don't. And I'm like, no, I don't dislike him, but he's so angsty. He's like not even the good type of angsty. Where I'm like, oh, you are a tragic hero.
I'd like him a lot better if he just stepped off my guy.
Yeah.
And his romances were not so questionable.
Yeah. I'm just like,
I'm not reading a romance here, sir. So romance doesn't need to exist. So if it's going to exist, I need it to be good.
And then speaking of romance age, Caramon is 24, 26, and Tika is 19, and I don't love that. But I liked that Gold Moon was like, yo, you need to slow it down. And he was like, understood. I was like, you get points for that. And I like Tika's like arc that we get of her, and I'm going to keep reading this. I'm going to talk to you later if we want to keep reading it for book talks, but I'm going to keep reading them. And I enjoy and look forward to Tika's arc, and some other arcs I'm looking forward to as well, because I remember bits and pieces of where characters end up. So seeing who they were at the beginning, or like their interactions with each other and stuff like that, where I'm like, oh, seeing how they're formed, where they are like stagnant in my memory is very interesting for me. Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts on Dragonlance?
No, I will enjoy reading it further with you.
Oh, awesome.
I just sneezed in, now I have to pee.
I was gonna say something. My dad got me a art print from the artist that does Dragonlance.
Ooh, nice.
The portrait and the title are both spoilers, major spoilers. So it's signed. It's like signed to like a little message to me about writing, and then it's signed by the
that's awesome.
Which is really cool, and it's especially funny because it's something that like it's a scene that impacted me a lot as a kid in a negative way. And the fucking scene, the my dad got me art of it, and I'm like, oh my god. So he's gonna ship it out here so I can put it up in my new house.
Okay, but you can't hang it up until we get past that part.
Yeah. So I love Dragonlance. It's not a spoiler at all, don't worry. But hearing all of Tass's adventures that he talks about, and then knowing that there's a book for every one of them.
Yes, that's awesome.
And they're like, that didn't happen. I'm like, I've read that book.
Like, that didn't happen, and you're like, I've read the archives.
I was there when it was written. One of the books I was listening to when my family went to Scotland when I was 11 or 12 or something like that. And so even now, like, or at least last time I tried, when I listened to that book, I can close my eyes and like see the Scottish Highlands.
That's awesome.
So yeah, thank you for reading the old man fantasy. That's not quite as old man as you expected.
It's fine. I too have a nostalgia for old man fantasy, so
yeah,
it just comes. At least for this one, it didn't come from like reading it myself so much as because it is so D&D. It reminded me of my youth and D&D, and the first time I heard Tass be like, I'm borrowing it, oh my god, I cursed my sister's name in my brain.
No, Tassoff Burfoot, the invention of that trope, and I love him so much. No, it was to the point where I'm like having my friends call me Tass and stuff like that. if I probably would do my hair in a top knot if not for the fact that all of the art of Tasselhoff looks so fucking ugly. Like, the art is amazing, but Tasselhoff does not look like that in my head. Like, it looks like a full-grown man that shrunk. Like, his features are way too man, and I'm like, that's not my, like, elven as in, like, fae-looking Tasselhoff. But yeah. Would you like to reveal our next book?
Our next book, which we're going to try to do by Wednesday next week, because I have a romance picked out for February.
Yeah.
But life, fucking Snowmageddon and internet has been against us. We've been trying to do episode 22 all this week. We'll be like, all right, we're doing it tomorrow, and then it's like, we can't. So.
I got a fever yesterday. My internet was out for like 3 days or 2 days or something like that. It was just
well, we also didn't stream yesterday. We also didn't stream yesterday because we were respecting the strike. So
yes. Okay.
Which it's long things. But yes, we will be reading Dream Things by Maggie Stiefvater. I'm gonna look up an interview one day to learn how she says it. Look at that word. How would you say it?
Stiefvater.
Oh, I say Stiefvater. Vater. Okay. Well,
Stiefvater. It is, I think, Stiefvater.
Cool.
Or maybe she doesn't say it with an accent at all, and it's just.
I'm gonna look it up. Damn it, because I want to know. But yours sounded
my Dreams Thieves loan is due in 2 hours. I don't think I can finish the book before then, considering I haven't started it.
You have to renew it.
I can't. Someone else is waiting.
It's okay. You just go on to my Libro. I own it.
Okay.
I own all of them. But yeah, so Dream Thieves is book 2 of the Raven cycle, which there are 4 books, and I am looking very forward to you reading all 4 of them. So
I'm looking forward to it too. I'm sorry, I was just going through a bunch of my holds already for books from like months ago. They're just now because Los Angeles Library. And my dad and I now share library cards, like the same login, so I can see all of like the nautical war books that he loves reading. I just get like, hey, your hold's ready, and so I just check them out for him sometimes because I'm like, I don't want him to like miss it. But it's just really funny. It's fine. He reads.
All right, but yes, we will see you hopefully Wednesday, and yeah, catch you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.